All right, hello there, and welcome back to my channel. It is, let me see here, February 24th, 2024. We're just going to do a quick video here on something I discovered a while ago that I'd like to just bring up. Into the Stars had originally disclosed this research, and I'll say what I'm going to add to it, and then I'll show his research, and I'll basically, bring it all together. And so let's just get right to it. So one thing I discovered is that the electromagnetic spectrum that we all see in the ROYGBIV is part of the body code in many ways. And one thing that I discovered is that the wavelength for violet is 400 nanometers that you see violet at, and then the eye also sees red at 700 nanometers, which you could see down here. You could see this clearly down here is 400 for the violet and then 700 for the red. And so the eye and the woman's reproductive organ, happens to have a lot in common, as Into the Stars will show, and I'll show later in the video what they all have in common. But this is one thing to add to it of what they both have in common, is that the ROYGBIV sees, with, like I said, with violet at 400 and then red at 700 nanometers, that the eye can see, and in a wavelength, the wavelength of the nanometers, that happens to be the exact number of like a woman's either going to have her menstruation cycle, let's say, with either 3 sevens being 3 days of sevens, or 777, for basically how it's either going to be 3 sevens or 4 sevens, and the sevens are out for to show basically when the egg is fertilized. The egg, it's actually, well, the best way to describe it is first cycle is that the egg is that's the thing. I actually have to study that one. I kind of didn't come prepared to this video to shoot it. So it's like, basically, it's like it has to do with like every 7 has to do with like a different cycle of the egg. Basically, is that first 7's like eggs in the upper part of the womb, basically, and then it's the 7 day, it's the monthly cycle, basically, but the monthly cycle goes in 3 sevens or 4 sevens. So if you think about it, it's like with 4 sevens there'd be 7 days in a week, and then 4 weeks in a month, typically, sometimes more than 4 weeks in a month, a little bit over 4 weeks. So it fluctuates. So there's 3 to 4 sevens for a woman's typical menstruation cycle. And in the human eye will then see the visible light spectrum at the 2 tail ends of it, at 400 for the violet and then 700 for the red. So those two things they both link up, and they both have in common that the eye and the woman's reproductive organ are basically linked closely together, and it shows that we have a very intelligent design for the human anatomy, or some sort of an intelligent design. And so anyway, and I'll show you how the elites very well know this. And I'm also going to give credit to Into the Stars right now, because he's the one who came up with this. This just adds to his work, basically, because he has not disclosed this on his channel yet. That the electromagnetic spectrum that the eye happens to see at is also linked to the woman's reproductive organ. So anyway, so in the next segment, we're just going to discuss briefly what Into the Stars has, and I'll give him credit here, and I'll show you how when you add this to it, it kind of makes a lot more sense. So the eye has what they both have in common, and to show that there's an intelligent design on them, is that the eye has the iris, okay, and then the woman's vagina happens to have a cervix, and it contracts and expands, and so there's that. And then there's also kid is flipped. When a child is born, the kid is flipped upside down when it comes out, and so your eyes actually flip the image side to side. It kind of forms like a cross almost in your brain. It kind of flips the image, and so the eye does that. The eye also has Wharton's jelly in it, which is tied to something called the hyaloid canal, which feeds the lens of the eye. Wharton's jelly can only be found in the hyaloid canal that feeds the lens of the eye before a human is born. And then Wharton's jelly is also found in the umbilical cord of a child before it is born. And those are the only 2 parts of the body where you will find the substance known as Wharton's jelly. There's that. There's also, you have 20/20 vision, and you have 40 weeks of gestation for a child. So you have 20 plus 20 is 40, and then 40 weeks of gestation for a child. Let's see here, there's more than that, is that the eye and the female reproductive organ are both things that were gained in the book of Genesis after we fell, because, it says in, I believe it's Genesis 3, it's like they'll have eyes to see, and then they have birth pangs. So it's like those are both things that we gained after we entered into the magnetic field. And they're both kind of like eyes into this world. And the other thing they both have in common is they're both portals into this world. And so there's more than that even. There's a couple more things I'd like to add, but these are items that Enter the Stars developed. I will add that I must reiterate that point is that he's developed these concepts, these ideas that I'm saying right now. Him and his team basically developed them. Mostly him, I think. Anyway, so we got a little bit more. I'm trying to think what else he has on his channel, because kind of going off of memory here. See, I give my. Oh, okay. So the eye has hexagrams in it. Basically, the rods and or the cones. Like I think it's the rods. Let's say are hexagrams, right? And so the womb happens to. Oh, my mistake. Not the womb. The uterine lining has hexagrams in it as well, and you can see this in a detailed video on his channel. There's that, and then I'm trying to think of what else there is. Okay. I think there's like one other point to make. There's got to be there's more than that even. I gotta think off the top of my head right now what he has on his channel just to sink this all home so that you get the concept. There's I gotta think for a second. Okay, yeah, bear with me and give me a second. I gotta think deeply about this thing because I don't have it written down really anywhere. Okay, so that. Local cord. Okay, I think that's about it for bringing up his material. If there's more before I leave here, I'll bring it up. And one thing I'd like to bring up is this is something that I also discovered through learning basic chemistry. Is that human blood has a pH of 7.4, and 7.4 is like, also like I said, women's menstruation cycle is either 3 7s or 4 7s, and the blood just happens to be a pH of 7.4. So there's that to add. The other thing to add is that we'll get to the Toyota symbol, which most people don't know this. This is, of course, a hidden symbol, and it basically is. It's a vagina eye. I was going to make it into a joke. It's like, and I have kind of made it into a joke on some of my other material, which happens to do with comedy. But this is also an ongoing joke of mine that I made up, and it's also like kind of like, the truth in plain sight, where it's like, it's a vagina eye, pretty much, the Toyota symbol. And pretty much as you can kind of see it right here, it's an eye, and it's also female reproductive organ. There we go. So we have that. And so, the people who created Toyota know this. And to really sink it all home, to show you that they really, really know that they did this on purpose, is that you have a car called the Toyota Matrix, which they don't make anymore, but I see a lot of them on the road. And the Matrix is the Bible refers to the womb as the matrix. So anyway, I guess that's about it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a good day.